Welcome back to The Reset. I am Shaun Tucker, human performance scientist and authority architect. I'm here in the living lab with a UFC legend, which I'll get into his bio in just a second, documenting the struggle, the science, and the shift for every high performance dad and founder who's ready to bridge the gap between their presence and their ambition. Today, I'm here with the legendary Brian Ebersole, who was in the UFC for a number of fights and has close to 80 professional fights in his career. He is an absolute legendary figure in the world of mixed martial arts. He's best known for his storied career in the UFC's welterweight division. With over 70 professional fights, his nickname was Bad Boy Ebersole. He became an icon of strategic unorthodoxy, famously immortalized by his highlight reel cartwheel kick knockout.
Oh my
Beyond the
goodness.
octagon, Brian is also a lifelong wrestler and high performance coach who now helps others architect their own paths to mastery. Today, he joins me in the living lab to discuss the transition from combat sports to coaching, what it really truly means to change your state and choose how you show up as a dad, as a man, and just, really excited to get into this conversation today. Brian, welcome to the show.
I have never heard my bio in like the form of a love letter. That was very flattering, Shaun. I appreciate you. Wow.
Now you're making me go all red.
Right. I'll have as many questions for you today as you'll have for me. Don't worry. We'll have a
I
chat.
think so too.
How you going? Yeah. Good morning from the great sporting fields of Liverpool, New South Wales, by the way. Having a
Yeah. How
little bit of
long?
a
Actually, I'll
snow
start
day
it there.
in and
How long
out.
have you lived in Australia? Because obviously you are not from Australia originally. You're from the
My
USA.
accent would definitely indicate I'm not from here. I speak a bit too plainly, and I can't just forget about the letter R from the alphabet, the way you Aussies seem to do. So
Yes.
yeah, I was from a small town like south of Chicago. I would say like the most outer ring of what you would still consider suburban. You know, like when you have the thick suburbs, and then you start to see some farmland, and then some small
Mm.
towns moving out from the city. I was in that last little bit. So we didn't have the metro train line to Chicago. It was like 30-minute drive to get to that.
Oh wow.
And I came over here for the first time in 2006 to compete on an event called like October whatever Fright Night. So it was like a Halloween event in Brisbane. So I was able to compete at the Broncos Leagues Club, and I stayed and like slept in a gym for 2 months, competed one more time, and went back home. And I moved back the very next year. So I've
Wow.
been here more than anywhere else since like '06, '07. That holiday period of Christmas and all that. Got home for, and
Yeah.
then prepared to actually move back and take a role here.
So you've lived here for the last 20 years, and man, you've had an impressive career in mixed martial arts, in the ring, in the octagon, and like
We had a lot of fun through all
a lot of fun
the tough
indeed. And
stuff.
I just love
Yeah.
like the way the place that I met you was obviously it was through Train Altar, um, which obviously is a 20-week fighter warrior training camp, which I competed in last year towards the end of the last year. I think it was the first season you guys ran down here in Victoria.
It was, yeah,
And
with me. Yeah, I think we ran in Victoria in the past, and then gym
mm,
partnerships and all that change and promotion opportunities change. So COVID with a big everything in Victoria. So yeah, we've got momentum going back in Victoria again, and then are on our second program with a finale coming up in Geelong again. But yeah, meeting you at the finale for the first time. I missed you when I came to see you guys at the gym. I recall. I saw the other
yeah.
boys in the afternoon classes and just didn't catch you. So
Well, we met each other, I think, in the first day you came down because you came down in the first couple of weeks, and then
yeah,
oh,
day one
yeah,
chat.
that like camp was it wasn't the most ideal structure for me because
It wasn't the structure at all, and that's tough. You know, it's
it
one
was
of the
hard.
ones
Like
where
we were meant to have a very structured and rigid kind of routine leading up to the camp. I mean to the fight night, which didn't happen, but that's all well and good. But I also faced different challenges during that camp too. Like I
yes,
had a
as you
business
would.
mastermind that I went to Bali, which is why I didn't see you in the second time. I also moved house,
Yeah.
one of the most stressful events you could go through.
You're telling me I'm nearing that for the first time in a number of years. As a gray bearded man that no longer wants to grab the dryer by himself and throw it on a truck, or in the back of an SUV. So yeah, hiring a bunch of people to move your stuff and like getting amongst it. How long was that operation for you? Was that like
It
slow
was
burn for a couple weeks and then the real hard, intense push to get in on the same day
it was
plus
2 weeks
clean?
of, not training. That's what it was, in terms of the the fight camp
I
that I
believe
was
you.
in. But dude, it was we we upgraded our mattress to a Super King mattress, and this is just a little segue before I really get into the stuff I really wanna get into with you.
Can we
Um,
talk about like
we got it.
winding staircases and king size mattresses? Is that where we're going?
Yeah.
Uh huh.
So it goes
Coach
up and then it
knows.
comes back up. And the thing
Yeah,
was, it was a rolled one of those roll-up mattresses because that's how they come these days. They come rolled
but
up in a box.
like a koala
This
mattress.
It wasn't a koala, it was,
Koala.com
Sleeping
for your
Duck
most
or I can't
comfortable.
remember which brand. Ecosa, I think it was.
Do we have a sponsor for this?
Look,
Do we
I'm
need to
open
spruik
for
one?
Ecosa to sponsor. Why not?
Mattresses.com.au. Here on the reset with Shaun Tucker.
I had to carry it up by myself, man, and
It's
I've got a prolapsed
different.
L4 and L5 disc in my spine. It was rough, but I did it. I did it, and
Because we just do sometimes, right? And we just
that's exactly
deal
right.
with the mobility and nerve pain consequences later.
100%, and I'd love to actually speak about that for a second because I actually watched your debut UFC fight, last week because I was like, "I really wanna just go watch some videos of the fights that you've had, and what an impressive career to say at the least."
Oh, thank you.
Um, you were known for that cartwheel kick, right? And I think
I did
in
it
that
so many fights leading up. You know what I mean? So I have the one highlight pre UFC with it, knocking someone down in a ring, and that's everywhere. But I had tried it in so many fights in the US and through, and then coming over, got in trouble for it a little bit because they thought I was showboating and like, was that a WWE match instead of a fight kind of thing? And so, yeah, um, definitely, definitely known for a bit. You just got to have something.
the
You know what I mean?
the
I have a tough name to pronounce.
100%.
I had to leave something to remember me to memorize,
The
you know? Yeah.
the thing I loved about it was in your UFC debut, you threw it out a few times, and obviously it didn't land, but I think in the interview after you were asked, "Why did you do that?" And I think you said you just wanted to get it off your chest, really. You just wanted
Yeah,
to
just do it and get it done.
just throw it out there.
Yeah, because once you get known for something, you're probably going to do it, but it can't be just like the act, like the shtick of a comedian just comes out. Or I'll tell the same. They know I'm going to talk about this. Dave Chappelle, famous skit. You work on it for months leading in. So you do it a lot, but you still got to find ways to deliver it. And you got to make yourself still feel authentic as well. So there's always a story going into a fight. Sometimes with me, there was things behind the songs that I chose and whatnot. It was like the music, of the camp or the moment or the fight week. Sometimes, you don't have to write it down till later in the piece. You don't have to sign the contract 12 weeks out and give your fight song. You get to give that later. So sometimes even the song's choice and influence, my retirement song was I've got bills. I've got to pay. I've got to work every day. So UFC paychecks are kind of cool, sort of, not really, mostly, not really.
Yeah.
Pretty small, but they come at once. So like, oh, I got 20 grand all at once. But when you want to, raise a family, you got to go work every day and have a weekly paycheck. So I knew I was on my way out. Fight song indicates, go have your fun, retire. Yeah. And do the
I think
thing.
that's one
But
of the
yeah,
things I
even,
really
even
admire
prior.
about you as well is you're a switched on guy. Like you didn't I want to say this politely. You didn't just do it for the sake of I think loving the sport. It was that element too. You were aware of all these things that make you the provider, the protector of your family. You knew the next
There's
chapter.
opportunity cost to everything. Yeah. No, that has to be looked
Understanding
at.
that.
Mm,
Yeah, 100%. And I think so many
yeah.
people, they get so caught up in the moment or they see, this is the thing, I think the intersection where you show up brilliantly is that intersection between being your full authentic expression of who you are and being able to perform at that elite level. Because when you let go of the outcome and you're aware of what you do, what needs to be done, you show up, you
Yeah.
give it all.
Yeah.
And I think so
Yeah.
many
If
people
you,
start
if you
holding
want to
back.
win and you're in a position to go chase like that thing, a little bit of like physical discomfort that you've experienced before shouldn't stop you. And so, like you said, like, I want to carry that mattress up because I'm just going to do that. Halfway through, it bothers me a bit, but I'm 3/4 of the way now. You know what I mean? It's like, it's still not your whole stack all at once, all fail or not. Take a breath, reset, throw the shoulders back, have a think about how to nudge that thing up without hurting your back now. And you just
100%.
adjust and you go again. Right? So, like, technique changes that whole walk. Well, your whole round 1, round 2, round 3, that changes. Fight camp, you're training a certain way, get certain feels and whatnot. Oh, that's not good. Adjust. Or that's really good. Let's lean into that and build some strategy off of, you know, working the action toward that roundabout that I'm really happy to play in. I've got 3 exits now. I used to only have 2, but this other move and this other option has come about during camp. All right,
Mm,
let's not focus on I know a new move. Let's focus on the new move will show up when I'm doing the old ones anyway. And you just cycle back.
mm,
So you would have maybe done a drill where it's like underhook, body lock, single leg, double leg, single leg, body lock, all the way back up to the original clinch position. You know, and those things chain together really well. And then obviously there's the whipping finish this way, that way, up, down, in, out, forward and back, or a mixture. So yeah, you start to, how do I get things into the roundabouts I want to play? And then when life puts you in a situation like, well, you take that roundabout and go that direction with it. When I'm hurt, am I going to
mm.
rest or am I going to go see a physio that day? You have a choice. Don't know, but you got to go on feel and just be a little bit clever with it, step by step. You can judge yourself harshly in any step, but it's more like save the judgment, act, adjust, act again. I think one of the questions on
Mm,
your pre-podcast forum was like, what's the philosophy on stuff? It's like, there's a little bit of the Nike, just do it,
yeah.
but be a sportsman and go back with your coach and talk at halftime. Don't go back to the locker room and only physically rah, rah, rah. And don't go back there and only fluff them up, educate them, or yell at them. It's got to be all of it. There's all the elements. So teams have these neat routines all the time, and the best coaches do it naturally. But there's
Mm,
that little mix of the pie, and you just shift. But no part gets left out, no ingredient. So you educate kids at halftime in a football game with X's and O's. You give them a hard time on something, even if they had a great half, the score's in their favor. You know what I mean?
mm.
You fluff them up a little bit on great job here at certain players, and there's a team that wins gives a game ball at the end. It's all part of the ritual and routine, and that still comes with some, all right, guys, and on Monday we're doing this, 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 and this. You know what I
It's
mean?
having that plan.
So
Yeah,
you're
it's
already
having that
setting the next
plan.
step. You set expectations the whole way. So the Alto program is built like that. Well, each day, 4 or 5 days a week, you're in. It's early morning. Everyone's receptive. Coach is meant to hit certain checkpoints. And again, it's a lot easier to do as a team. It's hard to do with individuals coming in some classes and some not. So, when fight camp
Yeah.
experiences go like that, and that's what most amateurs have to deal with. We just, in martial arts, walk into an afternoon class and start training. And as a
Mm,
pro, I had to do a lot of that here too, because there's not just a bunch of other pros around to just do a
yeah.
noon session when the gym's empty and not commercially open. So you make do. Like a lot of amateurs go to work and have to come into those afternoon classes, like you did. So
It's a
but
really interesting
they'll be there
intersection
on
what you're
Saturday
talking
and they'll
about.
go to open mat on Sunday. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, the intersection
No,
between you're saying?
it's see, what you're saying is basically it's having a plan that doesn't quite go to plan, but there's this element of
There's a path.
You there is a path. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And
that's
make
it.
sure
And the
that you
path
follow
winds
it
a bit.
because you gotta deviate, you gotta change, you gotta really become present and really
Yeah.
understand
Because
the
what's
choice
the
that you have.
mean? Success. Everyone's like, oh, success. And success is like big stock market graph. You know what I mean? Like,
Snakes and ladders.
yeah, it's not so straight lined. If it was, everyone would do it and it'd be easy. But we're meant to be here and do difficult stuff. Keep ourselves humble.
Because there's that just cool, calm approach. I remember as I was watching the video last week, because I don't like the thing about me is I don't really tend to watch a lot of UFC or MMA fights.
You and
When
me
I saw
both.
the advertisement for it, I was just like, when I saw the Fighter Warrior training camp, I'm like, something inside me wants to do it. I don't know. I can't explain what it is. It's just, I know I need to sign up and do it.
What do they call it? Like the call to the void? When you're like,
Something like
what would
that.
it be like jumping off that Grand Canyon ledge? Like, there's like a little bit of like mystique. Like,
Should we
don't
try
want to
it?
do it. You know what I mean? Don't want to do it, but like, I wonder like how the fall would feel and all that fun stuff. So they call it like the call to the void. So I think you had
I
one of
think
those
that's
moments, huh?
describes it perfectly because
Mm.
there's this element I saw in the interview, or not in the interview, during one of your fights. I think it was the UFC debut, and it was between round 1 and round 2. Your coach came over to you. You were cool as a cucumber, literally, just cool as a cucumber, just absolutely present with what your coach was saying. And he's like, "Take him down, take him down." You just said, "Yeah, I'll take him down." And the amount of shots you went to take him down and unsuccessful to take him
Mm.
down. I think you got him one time in one of the 3 rounds. It's just being receptive, right, to understand what's the next step towards
Yeah.
that path. I think that's such a crucial thing as a fighter, as a dad, and I'd love to get into that as well
Yeah,
because
of
you have
course.
2
I'm sitting here
daughters.
watching my daughter play right now. So yeah, please. But yeah, I think there's just a bit of it's very literal with sport, but I think it's the same with life. It's just life's a bit more loosely constructed. But run the play. Run the play that was called. Have your huddles, have your chats, go run the play. You can't micromanage everyone on the field in a 11-man team of football. You know what I mean? You can try if you get to rehuddle up again. But in the moment chaos, man, the pros are making bad reads on plays and leaving guys open for Tom Brady to throw a potato down the field. There's no like defensive stress. It's just, oh, as long as I don't really mess this up, he's catching that ball, we're happy. You know, you miss plays all the time in basketball. Someone gets a slam dunk for no reason with a very basic pass. Stuff's hard. You know what I mean? So with every single endeavor, run the play, reassess. Run the play, reassess. I don't know. I'd rather play a little bit of that than just the soccer where the ball's always in motion all the time and it never stops. Like, I'm happy to stop and have a think and a chat about the next best way to do it. We're already tired and working hard. You know, with wrestling, it's like, so what's the easier way to do this? What's the easy way to do it? What's the right way? How do the Olympians do it? And I wish I talked like this more when I was 15, you know what I mean? As opposed to 40, 45, you know, because I would have better posture on some of my shots and I would have, you know, certain habits that are a bit cleaner and different. So that's the fun part about being a coach. You know, it's like putting better and better information in front of these kids watching some guys really take to it. You still see guys that wrestle like we would have in the 80s. You know what I mean? But you see a couple that go, no, like, coach, you're telling me there's a difference between good guys and the best guys. And I've picked up on some of that. Those habits I'll pay attention to and train it. And it's like, you have a higher ceiling. You just have a higher ceiling because you're receptive to that. Athleticism aside, it takes 10 years of being in good health to get really, really masterful at something physical like this. I can't imagine you go rock climbing a year or 2 in. I'd imagine to be really elite, you'd want your 7 to 10 years of training and experiences. What's different? You could keep going down the list of any activity. Don't know any golfers that are that good out of the gate. But you got to be receptive, like, to the nuance. But God, you got to see on that practice field and hit reps after reps after reps. Shut your brain off and find ways.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know?
your brain has to stay on, fully engaged and
Mm.
present with what's
Or but get
happening
out of the way, 'cause you gotta put
and
things
get
on autopilot
absolutely.
so you can be
Yeah.
nuanced. Like, "All right, my footwork's in order. Now can I keep my footwork to that level while distracting myself with punches coming or punches going?"
And
Or
there's that
basketball, like, "Oh, I can do this when there's no defender, or it's just a dummy or a teammate doing this. I can roll off that like Shaquille O'Neal or Hakeem Olajuwon or, Dwight Howard more recently." But then when there's real pressure, can you? Okay, well, you can train that in practice. Now, are you a practice player or a game player?
Mm.
So there's
You
all these
always
like,
fall to the level of your training, right?
oh, but some guys are really good in the training room and can't compete as well. Bright
So
lights of,
maybe
I
maybe
mean, there's stories of so many guys that couldn't play college basketball because the lights were on and it was bright. Couldn't do MMA, but they're the best guy in their room and they have guys in UFC and they beat them
Mm.
in sparring and they just haven't had their success. They got their shot, went 0-2 and got cut. And then maybe beat someone lackluster and lost another one and was like, man, I'm not good at cage. Like, just, and how do you get guys like that easy fights? Imagine if Daniel Cormier, UFC champ, didn't translate well to MMA. He's an Olympic wrestler. He's that good. But what if all the fighting, punching really got to him that bad?
Yeah.
But then who do you give him to compete against? Because you can't not give him the best guys in the world still, because he's a best guy in the world athlete as a wrestler, which is a big part of combat sports,
Makes
especially the way he would
MMA
compete.
makes it really interesting because you've got so many different
Yeah.
disciplines coming into one ring or one octagon, right?
Yep. Yep.
And I think it's evolved a lot over the last 20 odd years. I mean,
But you
probably even
still,
since you were in the octagon as
yeah.
well, yeah?
But you can still sometimes see like a certain animal versus a certain animal matchup that you don't see that often. You're like, oh, I'm watching a giraffe versus a rhino right now. You know what I mean? Like they're both big animals, but they're different big. And then they can run into each other, but they probably can't hurt each other. Like with one like slash of the, bear paw or the bite, you know,
Yeah.
this would be interesting. And you watch them play and
Yeah.
wrestle and throw some overhand rights and it's a different battle, but you still see some of that. But the skill set, the knowledge, yeah, people are taking it as MMA first more often than single art. I'm going to do something for 7 to 10 years and get good at it, and then I'll try to mix it versus the other element. Like I'm really good at grappling. I'll let someone try to hit me before I choke them. And I'm really good at boxing, but I've never done much past a few BJJ classes. Should I enter this way, that way? Do I do BJJ comps? Do I do an MMA match first? Do I do a combat sambo? There's all these ways to attack. Even that very straightforward dichotomy, grappling strike, which art. If you're in a martial
Yeah.
arts, sometimes it's no art. It's just grappling, striking, and they're that bare bones about it. And they might still market it Muay Thai or boxing, but like their coaching philosophy is like striking or you're grappling. Which one do you want?
It's very
We'll
true.
mix it in and we'll
And
talk about the other. Like Muay Thai talks about takedowns, but very specific rules or things you can't do. Uh,
mm,
can't like just jump on someone's back and then throw them down, which
it's
is the
very
meta.
nuanced, right?
Yeah, like you see boxers all the time. They slip a punch and they put their ear on the guy's shoulder, and they turn around and they kind of grab him by the waist or they push him off, but they're on their back. And they would normally grab him and want to dump him. So even Muay Thai that allows grappling doesn't allow that. You
Mm.
can't like pick your foot up and like hook their leg and throw them down. You have to have your feet firmly planted on the ground, and you have to be like able to throw, dominate, or trip someone.
So how do you get really good at this stuff? I mean, obviously it's
Dance and play and reps and feedback and reps, and you get really tired. But it's like dancing exercise, but everyone wants to come in just and squeeze and not breathe and not move their feet.
because you can't take in information when you are like that and holding and bracing your breath, right? And I felt find it almost so counterintuitive
Yeah.
when I was warming up, like pushing the intensity up for the warm ups pretty high, and then you go into the information part, which is learning what the drill is, which is fine. But I felt like my system was so peaked that it's really hard to take in and be
Yeah.
perceptive and receptive to the information that's being
So you're
shown.
meant to call them in and make a change like this,
Yeah.
or hey, you've done this, so we're gonna do this now, and make another cut, and that's it. And you let them go back out, and then when you sit them down, you really sit them down, and it's a water break, and it's a laugh, and it's a whatever on the way. You and your teammates
Mm.
taking your, oh, we might only get 1 minute. You know what I mean? They think they might be right back in for work. So they try to calm themselves down, have their fun, their banter, their feedback, their jibes, their jokes. You know what I mean? And all that fun stuff during their water break. And if you give them 5 minutes, well, then you get them receptive to info. Sometimes you bring them back. They only get the 1 minute. They come back either way, and you decide what to do next. Now, if you want to get them to listen to some info, tell them, guys, grab a seat. We're going to go over our next bit, dot to dot, and they start to settle in like students at school, going from one class to the next, and they still get that washover period. It doesn't always matter what you coach these guys. We all coach the same stuff. It's how you move the people through the room. So, like, as much as you want to be this source of knowledge, you also have to be like a goat herder. You know what I mean? You got to be the puppy that can go round everyone up and then get them into these channels. But sometimes you let them play in the open field, and sometimes you keep a loose ring around them, and sometimes you park up their bums and steer them a direction.
It's kind of like
But
being a
it's
dad,
still, there's a
right?
timing thing. With my kids, there's a timing thing. And I get some fun results with them, like try to make everything a project or a thing, or you mishear them on purpose and try to make it funny and let them just answer you, and it
Yeah.
reinforces, oh, we were going this way, Dad. No, and it gives them the control, and it's interesting for moments at a time to let them feel like they have that, because it's
Uh-huh.
very hard being a kid just being talked to or talked at. So yeah, she'll
Mm.
say something funny about, oh, you want the red shirt? No, Daddy, the blue one with Elsa on it. Yeah, the red one's really pretty. I'll go get it. And then she'll go get and talk to me about her blue Elsa shirt, and she'll put it on herself and see, Dad, this is the one. And then without even knowing it, she put her own shirt on. It's like, oh, big girl, put on your own shirt. You got your own socks today. And you slowly build them towards being, and then, Daddy, you put on my socks. And they pick the feet up and have their cute moments, but you make them capable. And you try not to argue so much. Let them lead the way a little bit.
I, I would love to know where you've been able to learn and gather this level of awareness that I don't think many
Childhood.
people have. To be honest,
Childhood.
like
Yeah.
it's
And filters. Like, filter yourself. Because when I've let my filters go, I've said dumb stuff and, like, not nice, and I've probably been mean.
yeah.
And I've probably
I
done
think
that even
that
recently. So there's just that, like, run everything through filters and then let's go. Like,
yeah.
but yeah, there's a way about, I guess, being playful and having a laugh, but also, like, I'm taking into the serious side, you build it in, like a Disney movie. There's the playful and the serious parts of those movies. And kids like that stuff, and they're very engaged. So why wouldn't you want to just be that character, play different characters with them? They put on different voices as kids. They're in a different headspace. All right, we're being fairyland and silly. Okay, I get to be the dinosaur. I get to be the alligator. I get to be the whatever. You know what I mean? I'm the horse.
Shifting
Jump on
roles,
my
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So most of my wrestle with the girls isn't like wrestle. It's like this act in this play that we'll end up doing. We'll shake hands. We'll do the thing. They try to pull my head down. Sometimes I say yes. Sometimes I say no. But for a long time, yep, everyone, you get my back. Struggle. Try to throw them off. You win. Let's go again.
Mm.
Let's go. You go again. And they have their little appetite for it. You know what I mean? But it's just one piece of this little puzzle to stay connected. So you have to have some ritual, and they fade and they change and all that stuff. But you keep them when you can, because it's healthy and helpful. Like, you got Friday pizza night. You just have to do stuff like that with kids. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
routine, and they look forward to it, and it's known. So you make them feel stable. Yeah. And wrestling and all that's trained the same way. Football's trained the same way. You run similar moves, similar plays, similar patterns. And you put those puzzle pieces together in different ways. But you make sure everyone knows what's going on through the movement. It's all right. Can we do the movement well? Can we do it against another team? Sometimes yes,
Mm.
sometimes no, and take your results and adjust.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
ability to coach, I think, is such a lifelong skill because it requires you to be present first and foremost. But
Yeah, you don't get to do it once and then just set a template.
no,
Even if you have a
definitely
template
not.
on the stuff, there's still every day, right now, for the hour,
Was
hour and a half, 2 hours, the weekly routine that we're together, whatever, game day, all that. So you have to have ritual and routine and familiarity and still be flexible. Yeah. Yeah. It was a cool way to grow up with American sport. And as I get older, obviously be able to talk about it in that manner. You
mm,
feel it when you're there, like, what's going on. Not every speech is meant to be like for you when you're on a team or individual sport or team sport. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
okay, not everyone's aimed at someone either. And you learn that as you get older with some maturity. So, yeah, I think it's a really neat, interesting way to grow up. So, watching these guys play sport here, like through club, I find that interesting because there's so much instability in the structure.
Mhm.
Like, the kids will play the game the same way and then might play on the same fields, but like, it's a different coach each year and it's a different club and it's a different thing and it's a different practice time. That's school is you get out of school, you go to practice, you play your games instead of practice sometimes. So it's the travel up, play, come back. You're home like 2 hours later. There's no pick your kid up from school, wait an indiscriminate amount of time before you get them to practice, before they finish. It's like we practice right after school all across America. You know where kids are. They're still at school, in a field, in a gym, you know, doing their thing, working their craft. So it's a super stable way all the time. It's the same coaches all the way through certain grade levels. You're
Mhm.
familiar with your high school coach before you ever got to high school anyway, because you're all still part of the same system. So they come and talk to your team about, hey, in 2 years when you're in high school, and you get info, you get motivated, you get the nervousness, you get the excitement, all that fun stuff. I find it so lacking and so sporadic here. Like to have a good coach on a club or not have a good coach. To have a stable club that's been there for 10 years or one that was formed yesterday or one that's formed yesterday
Yeah.
because the other one folded last year. So we're taking over because they folded.
You're making me reflect back on my childhood and the sports that I played with, basketball
Yeah.
and tennis
Yeah. It makes you
predominantly.
think
And
how it was all set up behind the scenes, right? The game's always the game, but before the scoreboard turns on, what's everything look like? Well, to make that
yeah,
stable and just simple, like we didn't have to think about it. Here it's this puzzle that way more people are
it
trying to
is a
put together
puzzle.
than
You're right.
they hire one person at a school that covers all the sports and give them a secretary. All the sports with all the other schools, communication via the conference or the region or whatever it is. And you have your little pyramid of tournaments at the end where when you lose, you go home. So you get a state
Yeah,
champion each year
my
and
good
it's
friend,
earned. It's interesting. Yeah.
he said that sport here in Australia, especially if you get to a certain level, it's like you turn into an orange. Basically, they squeeze you and they squeeze you and they squeeze you until there's no more juice left to give.
Mm, mm.
Um, and I think it's probably
It's because you're
partially
almost,
true
yeah. Yeah.
because
There's a
there's
bit
that
of that with,
isolation factor, right? There's that
they
lone
take all these kids
wolfiness.
out of their hometowns for 9, 10 months a year. Like preseason's 4 months long. And then a 5 or 6 month playing season. It's like, wow, let these kids rest. You're going to wreck their bodies. It's a meat grinder like AFL and NRL. If they don't let these
Yeah,
kids, you know? Yeah, it's interesting. Basketball and
it sounds
somewhat the
very
same way.
different to what you were raised in, over in obviously in the US. It's very
We have
different
our
from what I hear.
season, and yeah, you get your off season, but we talk about preseason workouts, and some guys will play more than one sport. But I was lucky enough to play them a season like football ran into wrestling, so then you had like the nice big break. You had a real summer break, you had a real um, back half of the school year break, so it wasn't horrible. Um, some kids will go like first and third quarter, for example, and have the breaks in the middle. But that preseason and postseason like stuff is informed through university structured systems. You know
Mm,
what I mean? And we're not that proud over there. There's a million coaches. We don't need a million wheels. We need a couple wheels. Pick the style you like, coach, from Georgia Tech football or Duke Mike Krzyzewski basketball with, all the success he had, but coming out after having went to West Point and graduated and knowing things about systems and structure and culture and all that. He's written books and he's amazing in his own
Yeah.
field, but it all came through basketball and was honed like by him to be able to put on a page through his experiences, but through one sport. Of course, tying it into things like this family and probably Christ and all the rest in
Yeah.
America. But yeah, I think structure and stability just allows them to play. The coach can then rest a little bit more easy, not having the admin burden and the uncertainty. It's very interesting here that I'll probably experience this more in the next year or two, but we're going to be driving like an hour and a half to play a one match game with another team. And it's what's wrong with the team a suburb up,
Yeah.
2 suburbs up on the train line. Oh, we don't like their coach, so we don't play them. Or we don't know their coach, so we don't play them. And I'm like, I mean, it's cool to go like coach against someone and like have friendly rivalries, or if it's a business thing, like, oh, we get together for this tournament each year. But like to not play in your own backyard doesn't even make economic sense. Like just economy efficiency speak.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
So
Yeah.
our schools play the closest schools to them in like groups of 8 and 12, because you can run tournaments off of numbers 8 and 12 real easy. And yeah, you have your little seasonal playoffs and everyone branches out to a regional tournament and then a section of the state tournament. You qualify for that. So like here it's zone and school, zone, and region, I think are the first 3 I've encountered with my daughter.
think so,
And I'm
yeah.
sure there's a state. She didn't make that one, but I'm sure there's a next one because those top 3 qualified from that zone. So yeah, it's super through the schools. There's one guy called an athletic director, and he's able to make a schedule based on last season's, but also with the same group of athletic directors across every sport. And it's just truly efficient. It comes out of our taxes, taxes, property taxes, council rates go to the schools where I'm from in large part and help run the town. So, yeah, they just have their budgets for teams and it's not that expensive to play sports. And it's not, I mean, there's traveling sport and I'm sure you have that here. You have local club and then you have like, let's go all-star club and let's go play the team in Perth and do this. And it's like, okay, you've got expendable income, go play. Like some people just, that's not even a real option, not even close to, let's go have a 12 grand summer to play some soccer, netball, or baseball, or basketball,
It just
yeah,
sounds
through the
like
schools, it's there and seasonal and structured and yeah, in a nice box that
so
works.
inbuilt into the ecosystem of how the local neighborhood kind of runs and works. Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And because it's run through schools, there's scholastic side. Like if someone's come up with good information, it gets disseminated. It's not always groundbreaking stuff, but it's like how to run a kid through a practice room. If I've never done that, if I'm the dull coach that gets them all heated up and then brings them in for a 9-minute explainer on what part of the gi to grab and where to put their foot. And I got to show it 12 different ways with 6 different analogies to get the whole group to understand, versus we found ways to talk to groups. Groups can help each other, like kids do help each other. I've been in the line going, how do I run this route as a wide receiver in football before? And they're like, it's 7 yards, but you're probably going to slow down at about 5 and hit a jab step. So you fake them and then you go 45 degrees to your right. It's like, all right, thank you. That's what coach said. Got it. Like we just explain that stuff to each other. We go out and one of our mates is lined up on the other side and he has to defend us. You got a coach or a quarterback throwing the ball and you go 100 and then coach changes the route. Sometimes you miss it. Someone has to nudge you just like they would in class. Like, hey, we're doing the multiply by 5s timetable now, not 4. Like you've moved on, and you let them build that teamwork and that whole thing. And even in individual sports like wrestling, it's the same. No, coach was saying like, look, I'm going to push. He's probably going to push like this. Here's the reply. Here's the next best position for you to get to. So you clean each other's like movements up as you go.
Yeah. That feedback is
but moving
crucial.
the kids through the room like cattle or playing an orchestra, band, it's that, I think that's the real key. Uh, and there's days I do it well and I don't do it at all. There's days I've probably done it badly, but you still get through your hour. But yeah, the idea is to try to let everything build and keep people in the onion, just peeling little layers. But once you change the subject so big, if you teach it real spread out, it's hard. When physical effort is all spread out, it gets hard. Like, well, I can't show up because
Yeah.
one's at 5 o'clock and one's at 4 a.m. And then on Saturdays it's this and 6 a.m.
It
every
just
day,
gets harder and harder.
7 a.m. every day. Like you carve out your times that are non-negotiable.
Yeah.
You carve out your tasks that are non-negotiable. And you get after them. And then
Show
you
up.
adjust.
100%.
Probably have to do it again the next day, right? Because it's on the calendar. Recurring event. Be a dad from 4 to, whatever PM. So, yeah.
It sounds like it's really, you've developed an art. And I think you meticulously dance with that art form. I mean, through your martial arts career and even in your fatherhood journey as well. It sounds like how you coach, how you lead and guide your daughters. It's really understanding the intersection, the path. Like the path is not always the plan. And I think maybe that's a quote that I'm going to use for you.
Plans just have speed bumps that have not been encountered yet. That's all. That's just on paper. I've met a lot of people with great ideas, and they'll be like, step 1 and step 2, and they put all this information into it, all this thought, and then they're like, step 9 and 10 are great because projection, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's go. Yeah, but I was waiting for this to do that. And it's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like that's the hard part. And that's the murky bit. And that's the muddy bit. You don't even half the time write that. You just go do it. And it's like, oh, we got to 8. Good. Yes. Projection met. Idea validated. Effort in the middle, decent enough to get us there. But it's that effort in the middle that everyone just, no, that's trudging. Like that's every step. That's not big blocks. I can't go big blocks of time and like not in a chat with my daughter and just zone out. Her not know. Like, so yeah, the consequences for even autopiloting stuff. Though you do want to autopilot a lot of things.
How much of it is intentional practice, right? Is actually being present in that practice, because you make it autopilot, which makes you more efficient and effective. But if you're not bringing consciousness to it and being present with what's happening in that practice, it's useless.
Yeah, I can talk to you in the car. I can drive safe, and I can miss my exit with the blue line and Siri talking to me at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
Like a bit of inattention and miss the exit. Here we go. All right, keep doing the thing. I can follow directions really well when I'm not talking on the phone. So yeah, you find like interesting bits of human potential, and like we have bandwidth and we have moods and we have attitudes, and yeah, we got to mix that in public, in private, with people close to us, with strangers. Like it's interesting challenges, man. Yeah, and it's again, life in school structured and lovely, and you can be friends with everyone at school, and everyone had you could put them in their place, and you're living in that little smaller community. And then everything gets globalized as soon as you get out and adult. Nothing makes sense. There's no task to how to pay your rent. It's not, well, if I show up for these hours at school, I get my grade. Now it's good luck. How many hours of work do you need? Oh, I got to do algebra on my job decision to figure out if I can then figure out the algebra on the other side of the equation, which is my living expenses and life situation. It's definitely one of those big hits. So trying to bring back the lessons of that into the adult world's unique. Try to bring that structure and that base, and remember what it's like being a kid. Like they're so socially pliable. And then we get adults rigid and shy to talk to people and shy to like stand out in a crowd. And, I think a lot of people being cheeky here could just fart in public more often and take not a deep breath of it, maybe take a deep breath before, but then just be in the moment and see what happens and not already have the you know? If you're
Stop
shy, do
taking
it
it
on
so
an
seriously.
escalator. Do it on an escalator so you really remove yourself from the situation, but everyone gets a bit of your vibe in the moment, and be okay with that.
Yeah. There's one last question I'd love to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
It for the guy who's about to start his MMA or get into combat sports at whatever age they're at, probably
Yeah.
young adult, probably have a lot of inner rage. They got a lot of stuff that's
Some
happened and they
I've
don't know how to
yeah,
deal with it.
met
I
the
mean, I'm
spectrum.
relating to myself now, right? Back in those
Mate,
days. So
sometimes hitting a bag is amazing as a
yeah,
26-year-old. An
what
amazing
kind of
way to just
advice would you have for someone who's just like they want to become the world's best at whatever they're doing?
oh, that's a different one. I'm gonna go ahead and stop you just quickly and let you finish to follow up, but we'll piggytail it, put them together in the sense that you cannot walk into a gym and go, I want to be the world's best.
I agree.
There is not a single athlete at whatever age that started their sport, I don't care what age they were, that walked in that said that day one and had like a good journey. Like just a good journey, not even got there. There might be
Yeah.
one or two that said that at 19 and 20 and got there, but it might have still been built on, but I wrestled in the top mountains for a long time. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I have one of the world's strongest cultures of Sambo behind me. Like, okay, well, when you walked in to get good at Sambo, what were you saying? Hi, all my friends are here. Oh, hi, coach. Shh, shh. Sorry. And you sit down and you listen and you play and you do your thing. And then later on, you're like, oh, I've won a couple. I don't like losing. I think I can keep myself from losing if I try more and pay attention more and try more. Could get good at this. I'm going to beat that kid. He's better than me now, but I'm going to beat him by the end of the year. And if you don't do it that year, it's still your goal the next season. You'll see the same kids because remember, we played the schools closest to us. So you'd see the same people. You get to you win some, you lose some, different years even. I got guys that wrestle each other 3 times in 1 year and trade wins and losses. Scores can even be wildly like, hey, we had a shootout 10-8. Another time it was 2-1. Like super low scoring.
Yeah. There's a huge difference between, I think, in the question that I ask, it's like one is coming from that deep place of insecurity, right? It's I trying to prove myself in some way, shape, or form, but the other one's really coming from that place of deep trust in its community and its culture and its building character.
Yeah. Yeah. You're meant to lean on each other and listen. So remember we talked about earlier being static? How you can't
Yeah.
take on coaching while you're like that? You can't even take on the data you're meant to be taking on through the interaction because you're so, like I say, lean on someone and then listen and feel. Listen to where they're trying to go, what they're trying to do. Listen to their effort and you try to ride it like a little wave. Stay on top of the surfboard. It's just minimum. That's a simple wrestling one. As opposed to BJJ, which wants certain moves. I just say, well, just be on top. It doesn't matter like what happens. If you get like in, your goal's still to stay on top. Slip some of those little things out of the way that could flip you and turn you, get rid of the complication, be on top. If they want to roll over, let them. Let them. Don't get tied in and rolled with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And stay on top. And so that resonates really well, and you got to play little games and fun stuff there. But just back to guys that want to squeeze and play, they can't take on any information about the game, the pathway, the ways out. They're not learning the roadmap. They've blacked out their windows and they're just holding the wheel driving, hoping to win the race. And I'm like, that's wild.
I love that.
Yeah.
visual
Yeah. So you got to
metaphor.
do the weird martial arts stuff. You got to do some of the soft, weird stuff
Yeah.
to even realize,
Beautifully
oh God,
said.
I can't even. Yeah. Like, okay, I'm mad that I'm losing this simple game over and over. I'm going to try to win. And then you still can't win. Or when you do, it's like you went super athletic and maybe cheated and had a head start to win. And you'll do that a few times, out athleting someone. But then, all right, they've cottoned on to your one move, which is sprint. They're slower than you, but they've figured out just how to diffuse you, and then let's play the game. Like there's dudes in rugby, if you give them a bit of room with no one around, they'll blow everyone away. But you still have to figure out your way around everyone if the defense does their job well. So yeah, it's good having an athlete that wants to sprint sometimes. Everyone in the room gets that one defensive lesson in the same week. But eventually you got to like mix in and play and jog and hang out with your team and figure out how all this mixes in because there's so much education in that. I can't knead the dough for you, man. Like you got to make your own pizza base. Chat about toppings and stuff we like all day, but if you don't need your own base, I don't know what to tell you. And if you want to be the unkneadable dough and not let someone play, well, have fun. Like, be really, really hard to get good,
Well
be
said.
a world champion. So yeah, the guys that come in even saying that, it's a red flag for us.
Yeah.
Please, we need to reset expectations. You're coming to play club sport, and we need to treat each other like we're in a club together. That needs to be the guy. Man, I'll go back to America. I'll make you guys like group shower if we need to build some bonding that way. Like 10 dudes in a shower doing the thing. If you want to make fun of people, like that's going to have consequences for years because you're going to be on the same team. You know what I mean? You want to tease someone about a
Yeah.
mole on their bum or whip someone with a towel on their bare bum and break skin, like all that horseplay and horse hockey all has to be managed. But I feel sometimes people get in their silos. And like you said, maybe even here, people get in their silo and just go, I just want to be successful. And it's like a lot of process and a lot of play. And this is not a sport with a structure that offers like financial incentive reward for you trying. So it's definitely not. I mean, gosh, you probably try John Madden football, NFL on a PlayStation and make more money as a hobby. Like, I'm going to try and practice all the time. Go do that. Like they have better tournaments where you can make, $1 billion to win the Australian national bloody video game tournament. True story. Like the sponsorship and their revenue is pretty strong. You want to go fight? Here's your $500. 3 months
Yeah.
of effort. And this is your 15th fight because you had an amateur career before you went pro. Better be doing this because you just want to get good at something and you like it. If you see something later on, we can talk. There's always that little crack in the clouds where you're like, I'm actually pretty good and I'm still healthy. I'm getting good results. I'm still pretty healthy. Okay, now we can talk about any aspirations past, beat most of the people in your local area and having the 1 or 2 interstate matches. And that all has to come first. If you can't even beat the guy in your own town, I don't really want to fly you to Melbourne, but I will if it's a fair match. Like it happens a lot. But, once you get, all right, I've cleared everyone in my state. Okay, let's get you over to Perth or Melbourne or Queensland to have a match. See if you can beat one of their better guys. You guys you start litmus testing and you try to go international, but those international early paydays still aren't very good. Like $2,500 to go fight somewhere. Portugal, Poland, make $3,000. After paying everyone, it's not a wage. That's just, it's paying a year of gym fees and stuff. So yeah, it's, that makes this sport interesting because the true risk of like your actual health. Where if you try to go be professional at netball, you still have a job and should. I don't think that many people are just playing netball or just play, you know what I mean? Trying to go to the Olympics, just doing that. I'm certain that they're still like in some offices in Sydney, Canberra, Melbourne, like typing away and making calls and working while they do that. Where you see a lot of these guys, I want to go all in.
Man, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Honestly, you're such a man of embodied wisdom. I'd love to know who your mentors were. Probably
My
save it
coaches
for
were,
another conversation.
yeah, I had some amazing coaches, and when it came to even the UFC and how you present yourself, like we see all these guys that rah, 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 and they bark and this and that. Like I'm cheeky and I'm playful, but when you get to that level, like it turned into one of those things with talking like that, like I don't want to go be insulting and truly embarrass the people that talk. There's that little bit of like, Conor McGregor, and it's like, good on you for being able to do that. I could not
Mm.
walk into my local grocery store after giving an interview like some of the ones he'd done and feel good. You know what I mean? So yeah, you just got to walk your path and do your thing. And I'm still goofy and obnoxious, and I've yelled silly stuff in public. We chatted about farting on an escalator. You know, teaching my daughters that's the best way to do it if you're going to do it in public. Elevators are off limits, I tell them. But yeah, you still got to be able to represent like your community and the people that it put into you as well. If you're going
Yeah,
to be on
just
TV
comes
playing a
back to that
sport
respect
and
of
have people go, oh, that's a role model. Oh, I want to be on TV doing that too. Well, all right, well, be one of the good ones. It's a little easier to be a normal dad having not been McGregor. Now, I don't have a yacht, but interesting trade off.
Brian, I love
So,
it. Thank you
yeah,
so much
no
for
worries,
joining me
Shaun. Good
today.
to
It's
chat with you.
an absolute machine when it comes to knowledge, I think, and just understanding how humans operate in systems and how people can learn in their best way possible. Like, I'm really,
Yeah,
really grateful for our conversation today. So thank
back
you.
at you. Thanks for letting me espouse chat. Much obliged.
No worries. So that is it for the episode of The Reset today. If you're ready to stop being a passenger and start being the architect of your legacy, make sure you head on over to my website, shauntucker.com.au. And also, if you would love to see what Train Alter is all about and look and check out the 20-week Fighter Warrior training camp, which I did last year, and there might be a hint at me doing another camp. Let's see. Yeah, make sure you head on it over to Train Alter, their website, and I'll make sure I link it in the show notes. But
Yeah,
remember,
much obliged.
most people wait for their life to change. We here, we architect the choice. So change your state, choose how you show up.
Sponsored
Thanks for
by
listening in.
Nike. Just do it.
Just do it.
Pretty much.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Appreciate you, man.
Cheers, Shaun.